Welcome back to The Buzz, Australia's first and only social media TV show. You can see what's trending there. Cody on Hot 30, please no. Negative songs, Ask Connor, Pip Chat and CWA. I think that's the Country Women's Association.
Go
Could
CWA.
be wrong.
Definitely.
Could be
Those
wrong.
ham commercials.
All right, social media news. Nikita, let's say I was out there job hunting.
Well, you'd have to be very careful about what your Facebook and your social networks are saying about you. And I know you would have to really go
I'd
through
be in
yours.
a lot of trouble. No, yeah.
Definitely. Let's bring up yours just as an example.
On my iPad, I've got my Facebook page.
Yep. So in 2011, 36% of Australian employers admitted to checking their job applicants' profiles on Facebook. And the reason for this is first impressions do count. So if they were having a look and there were lots of photos of you partying and drinking and doing burnouts in your car, that kind of first impression is going to stick for a long time.
Yes.
So you need to make sure that you've got your privacy settings in order. Another thing you need to be aware of is being consistent. So if your Facebook says that you were a pilot for 3 years, but your maybe LinkedIn profile says that you were a stewardess for a year and a half, then they're going to think, what, this person is not telling the truth.
Hang on, yeah.
Hang on. You also don't want to be a cultural misfit. So if you do have a lot of photos of you drinking and they like to be a bit more proper, say you're going for a job as a lawyer, it's very important to show off your best side. And to do this, you need to make the most of your other social networks. So if you want to keep your Facebook personal, have all of your drinking photos, have it set to private, but get a LinkedIn profile, get a Tumblr, get a Google Plus account, and make that your professional profile and add those links to your resume so that when the Human Resources Department are clicking that research button, they have these tools, that just bring in all this information. They can go straight to the networks you want them to, and you can show off your best side.
I'm going to pull you up on that.
Yeah, because let's assume that you're not making all of your stuff public.
Now, here's a thing that happened to a man in the United States. His name is Justin Bassett. He was interviewed for a new job. He expected the usual questions. One of the questions during the interview was, can you give us your Facebook password?
And unfortunately, there are a lot of employers who are taking the sneaky route. They want to get into your Facebook profile and have a good look around.
This young man actually refused, withdrew his application and said he didn't want to work for the company that would seek such personal information. But
Good
apparently, now of course the thing is, you can set up legal framework to say, this isn't allowed to happen. An employer, a prospective employee, isn't allowed to ask you this. But if you're applying for a job, a promotion, a high-paying job, are you going to say no, or are you going to maybe delete lots of stuff off your Facebook beforehand so you can...
I would say no. You would say no?
I would say no. I wouldn't want to be working for a company that didn't respect your privacy, and that's the biggest thing here, isn't it?
It would clearly depend on how much money.
Oh, yeah, of course. Everything has a price.
But you do just need to, as I said, utilise your other social networks. Give them access to those and say, this is where I live my online life.
I think the most important thing is, it comes back to, be careful what you're putting on social media regardless.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And control your identity. If you're a Matt Jones, you want to make sure that you give them as much info as possible so they don't find another Matt Jones and go, this guy's terrible, we don't want him.
Yes, like that Nikita Dixon stripper from the Crazy Horse.
That one. All right.
Nobody wants her.
I've got to say this at least once per episode. Moving right along, Matthew Mitchell Mitchum is a name that you may know. He's a diver and he plays the ukulele.
Lucky there's a man who positively can do all the things that make us laugh and cry. He's a family guy.
Matthew Mitchum, he's a good person to follow as well. He's active on Twitter. All you've got to do is go to @Matthew_Mitcham, that's AM. In fact, I think we may even have some supers there. You can see the names. He's actually very active on there. He is slightly controversial as well. In fact, I've got it up on my iPad at the moment. I'm not sure which iPad have we got up there. So
yours now.
The perils
Definitely
of live television. So here's mine on the screen. You can see very, very active Twitterer. And it's always good to actually be in direct contact with the people that you see on TV who previously were completely untouchable. Paul, very, very appropriately, you've got one called Moron Watch.
And who am I looking at?
That's a very good point, Paul.
Just quickly, Matthew, it seems like a video you'd see when you're going on Omegle or Chat Roulette. You go, oh, you're playing a ukulele, mate. Okay, so Moron Watch is a guy based in the UK. He basically, a little like Asher, tweets lots of really interesting articles from around the world about various different things that are happening, maybe surreptitiously through the law, through governments, through large corporations. So certainly worth watching. He'll have stuff on basically a Fox presenter asking if the Sikh temple attack was anti-Semitic. You know, doesn't really make sense.
Thought-provoking.
And he finds those kind of interesting little quirks in the media that I think are probably worth cluing yourself into. And another one of my favourite ones is The New Scientist. We know that NASA did a lot of tweeting for Mars Curiosity. The New Scientist basically followed a lot of NASA's tweeting and retweeted their stuff, but also a lot of the other different realms of science, so whether it be physics or biology or computer science, and we'll tweet the most popular ones and some really interesting ones and put them into one blog, and definitely worth checking out as a one-stop shop, I guess, for kind of all that really interesting new science stuff.
Very interesting.
All right, thank you. Give us one.
All right, last one. So we've got Bernard Keane here, at Bernard Keane, that's Keane on Twitter. He writes for Crikey. He's got in his profile here, I write war on the internet. But essentially, he just writes a lot of tweets, things that will be thought-provoking, stuff about news, obviously, and Crikey is a really good publication to follow. Independent news service, and you definitely want to be following their journalists because, you know, they're not censored in any way. So watch out for this guy. Great stuff, great tweets. Bernard Keane.
All right,
it's really good to see Crikey come of age too.
Isn't it?
What a respected service now.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. All right, well, it is the Olympics, and of course, in the tradition of all of these clips that we've seen over the last few months of shit certain people say, how about shit you've never seen said at the Olympics?
I reckon the heats are just as exciting as the finals.
The real winners here are the parents.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, I've got to go. The hockey's just about to start.
To be honest, I don't think I know enough about the sport to actually comment on it.
Hey, darling, can you make sure you record the trap shooting finals for me?
It was great!
There's no way I could do that, not even when I was younger.
Look how big this gymnastic girl's tits are.
We should go to London.